Good morning, everyone. So today we are here to discuss the unit number 5, that is sequential circuits. Okay. So in the previous session, we have seen the programmable logic devices. So in that we have seen PLDs such as PLA, PROM, PAL. So we have discussed clearly about them. And today we are here to discuss the another type of digital circuits. So one of the type we have seen in the third unit, that is combinational circuits. And today we are here to discuss the second classification. What is that? Sequential circuits. Okay, it is nothing but sequential circuits. So what is the definition of sequential circuits, and how these circuits will start the operation, and how the outputs are being taken. So we will see all these. Okay. So today we will discuss the introduction part of the sequential circuits. Okay. So let us start this. So this is unit number 5 for you, and we will discuss the first part. So in the digital circuits, there are many applications in which the previous outputs are taken into consideration. So what is the previous output? For example, if I take a general expression, suppose if I take f of x equal to, I am saying in general, okay, f of x equal to 2x plus f of x minus 1. Suppose if I write like this, then for every value of x, means for all the values of x. So how this equation will become? Suppose if you take x equal to 0, for example, if you take x equal to 0, so what it will become? F of 0 is equal to, 2 into 0 is 0 plus f of 0 minus 1 means f of minus 1. Okay, f of minus 1. See, if you clearly observe this expression, in order to obtain the f of 0, you should know what is the previous output of this f of minus 1. That means in order to obtain the f of 0, that means in order to obtain the current value or the current function, you need to know the previous output also. Why? Because that previous output is becoming as the input for the next expression. Suppose if you take f of 1, what it will become? F of 1 is equal to 2 into 1, 2 plus f of 1 minus 1 means f of 0. So see here, in order to obtain f of 1 expression, in order to find the f of 1 expression, what you need to know? You need to know the value of f of 0. What is f of 0? It is the previous function. That means if you know, unless you know the value of f of 0, you cannot find f of 1. Unless you know the f of 1, you cannot find f of 2. Until you know the f of 2, you cannot find f of 2. That means each and every function or each and every output is depending on the present input. This is the present input as well as the past output. This is the past output. Past output means the previous output combination. Okay, so you call this type of circuits, okay, the circuits in which the output is depending on the present input as well as the past output also. It is called as a sequential circuit. Okay, so see here, there are many applications in which the digital outputs are required to be generated in according with sequence with the input signals are received. That means, suppose if you want to find the current function, you need to know the output of the previous function. That means the output of the previous combination is taken as the input for the present. And the output of the present will be taken as the input for the next. That means it is generating like a sequence. It will be like a sequence of functions where this output will become as this input. This output will become as here. This output will be depending on here. So each and every output is depending on the next function. Clear? So as we need to store the outputs. So generally, if you want to find the f of 1, in the previous example, just now we have said f of 1. So we need to know f of 0 also. Okay, why? Because we are having the function like f of 0. So see here, the previous expression what I have wrote is 2x plus f of 0. So if you want to find f of 1, first of all, you should know what is f of 0. What is f of 0? The previous output, f of 0. You should have find here f of 0. So until unless you find f of 0, you cannot find this f of 1. So after finding this f of 0, you need to substitute this value here. You need to substitute that value here, then only you will get the value of f of 1. So in order to substitute this value, first of all, you need to store this value. You need to store the previous output. Okay, in order to substitute or in order to use the previous value, first of all, you need to store that. Then only you can use in any time you want. Whenever you want, you can use when you store that. Until unless you store the previous output, you cannot use it whenever you need. So first you need to store that. So in order to store that previous value, what you need? You need a memory element. Very, very important. Okay. In sequential circuits, we need memory elements. Whereas in combination circuits, we don't need the memory elements. Why? Because their previous output is not considered as the input. But here, the previous output is also depending on the current output of the function. That's why you need to store the previous output. And in order to store these previous outputs, we are using the memory elements. Okay. Clear? Now, see, these applications require the outputs to be generated that are not only dependent on the present inputs, but also on past outputs. Very, very important. Okay. Not only the present inputs, but also past outputs. So in order to store these past outputs, we are using the memory elements. Okay. See here, the past outputs are stored in the memory elements. Okay. Here is an important one. Memory elements, which are connected as the feedback for the circuit. Okay, these memory elements are linked in the feedback column or feedback line of the circuit. Okay, in this feedback line, these memory elements are being connected for the sequential circuits. Okay, next step. The sequential circuit is defined. So it is this is the definition what we are seeing now. A sequential circuit is defined as the circuit at which, see, the circuit at which the output is dependent on the present inputs as well as past outputs. So very, very important definition. Please make down in your notes. Okay. The sequential circuit is defined as the circuit at which its output is dependent on the present inputs as well as the past outputs. Okay. So in order to store these past outputs, we are using these memory elements, and these memory elements are being connected in the feedback part of the circuit. Okay. So the sequential circuit is also called as a finite state machine. Okay. Please note this point. The sequential circuit is also called as a finite state machine. So machine is nothing but it is a circuit. Okay. We can call this as a circuit or a machine. Okay. Finite state means this particular circuit will consist of a finite number of states. It consists of a finite number of states. That's why it is called as finite state circuit or finite state machine. Okay. So these are the important points you need to remember. The first point is in some applications, okay, in some applications of digital circuits, there will be a necessary of storing the previous outputs. That means the output is depending not only on the present inputs, but also on the past outputs. There will be some applications. So in that applications, we need to store the past outputs. And in order to store the past outputs, we will use the memory elements. And these memory elements are connected in the feedback part of the circuit. Connected as the feedback circuit, feedback for the circuit. Okay. So how can you define the sequential circuit? The sequential circuit is defined as the circuit at which the output is depending on the present inputs as well as the past outputs. Okay. So the sequential circuit is also called as a finite state machine. It is also called as finite state machine. Okay. Next. So if you see the block diagram for this sequential circuit, so what we are doing here, first we are connecting a combination circuit. We are connecting a combination circuit, and for this combination circuit, if you connect a feedback in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the feedback. Okay, in the form of a memory element, okay, here the memory element is taken as the fe and it is connected to the again the combination circuit as a present state. Okay, so see here, inputs is given for the combination circuit, and it will be given taking this output side. Suppose if this memory element is absent, for example, suppose if this memory element, this block is absent, only inputs, circuit and outputs. If you see this, it will be like the combination circuit block diagram. N number of inputs, M number of outputs. Okay. If you take the inputs and the output is depending only on the present inputs, it is called as combination. So for a combination circuit, for a same combination circuit, if you link a feedback with a memory element, if you link a feedback as a memory element, you call this entire circuit as an sequential circuit. Okay, you can say it as an sequential circuit is equal to a combination circuit plus a memory element. Okay, the combination of the combination circuit and memory elements combinedly, these two will be called as a sequential circuit. Okay, see here, this is the current output, and this output is again taking as the input by using the memory element, whereas in the using the next combination. Okay, here you are getting output, and this output is bring it back again and stored in memory element, and it is used in the next combination. Likewise, this process will be continuous. Okay, whatever the output you are getting, that will be taken as input for the next combination. Okay, previously what I have said, if you want f of 1, first of all you need f of 0. If you want f of 2, you need f of 1. If you want f of 3, you need f of 2. Like that, each and every output is again taken as a feedback by using memory element, and it is used in the next combination. So this combination circuit, when it is linked with a memory element in the feedback, okay, a combination circuit, when it is linked with an memory element in the feedback, we call this as an sequential circuit. Remember that, suppose if this memory element block is absent, then this circuit will be called as combination circuit. Okay, so for the same combination circuit, when you link or when you connect a feedback which is called as memory element, and that will be called as a sequential circuit. Okay, these memory elements, what we are calling is nothing but your sequential components. So you can use here the memory elements like latches and flip-flops. Okay, latches and flip-flops you can use here, and you can derive the output of the current circuit. Okay, so we will see what is latch and what is flip-flop in detail in the further sessions. Okay, so remember that right now the memory elements what we are using here means latches and flip-flops. Okay, those two will be helpful for storing the data or the output data what we have occurred now, what we have generated now, and these will be stored here, and these stored previous outputs will be taken as the present inputs for the current combination. Okay, clear? Next. See here, how can you say that in general, a sequential circuit is equal to combination circuit plus memory element. Just now I have said you, the sequence circuit is equal to the combination circuit linked with an memory element. Okay, we can simply call it as a sequential circuit. Okay, when a combination circuit is linked with an memory element in the feedback, then it is acted as an sequential circuit. Okay, this is a block diagram of this sequential circuit. Okay, so it is very important. Please remember this. Suppose if memory element is not there, definitely it will become as combinational. If memory elements is existing, it is called as sequential. Why memory element is existing in sequential circuits? Why? Because in sequential circuits, definitely there is a possibility or there is an occurrence of storing the previous outputs. There is an necessity for storing the previous outputs. So in order to store the previous outputs, we are using the memory elements. Clear? Next. So if you see this next one, what is the comparison between the combination and sequential? Okay. So see the comparison. In the combination circuits, the output variables are all the times dependent on the combination of input variables. That is just nothing but your definition. The output variables always depend on the present input variables. That is the only condition in combinational. But in sequential, the output variables depend not only on the present inputs, but also they depend on the past history of the input variables. Past history of input variables means simply you can say that past output values. Okay, past history of the input values in the sense you can say it as a past output values. So what is the first point? It is the definition. The first point is regarding the definition. In combination circuits, the output variables are purely dependent on the input variables or input combinations only. But in the case of sequential circuits, the output is depending on the present input combinations as well as the past outputs. That is the difference between these two. Next, what is second point? Memory unit is not required in the combination circuits. It is important one. Why memory unit is not required? Why? Because here the output is depending only on the present input variables. See, the output is depending only on the combination of input variables, present input variables. So no, there is no need of storing the past one. There is no need of using or storing the past output variables. That's why memory unit is not required here. Very, very important. Memory unit is not required. But here, memory unit is required. Memory unit is required. Why? Because in order to store the past history of input variables, past history means you can say it as a past output. Okay, memory unit is required to store the past output in the sequential circuits. Okay, next, third one. Combination circuits are faster in speed. Okay, they are very fast in execution, faster in speed. Okay, so why they are faster in speed? Why? Because the delay between the input and output due to the propagation delay of gates. Okay, because the delay between input and output is due to the propagation delay of gates. So the time taken here for getting the outputs is nothing but just an propagation delay of gates. So whatever the gates we are using in the designing of this combination circuits, each and every gate will have some propagation delay. What is this propagation delay? We can say it as the time taken to the time taken by the input variables to propagate to the particular gate and generate the respective output. Okay, suppose if you have an AND gate, so the time taken for the AND gate to generate the output by taking the inputs, you can call it as a propagation delay. So by this this delay will be very, very less. Okay, it will be very, very less, very, very less. Okay, very, very less. Simply you can take it as a nanoseconds. Okay, it's very, very less. So due to that particular very small propagation delay, it will take somewhat fast in execution when compared to sequential. Okay, when compared to sequential, combination circuits are very fast. Why? Because the delay what is occurred in the combination circuits will be only due to the delay of gates. Okay, whatever the delay we see in combinational, that will be only due to the gates. That too, the gates delay will be very, very less. So overall, you can say that the combination circuits are very fast in the speed, whereas in sequential circuits are very slow. Sequential circuits are very slow than combination of the when compared to the combination circuits. Okay, so the third point is regarding the speed. The third point is regarding to the speed. So when regarding to the speed, you can say that combination circuits are speed than sequential. Okay, next, fourth one, combination circuits are easy to design. So these are very easy to design. When compared to the combinational, sequentials are comparatively harder to design. Harder to design. Why they are hard means here we are having the memory elements that has to be linked with an feedback for the circuit. Okay, feedback for the circuit, and you need to derive the particular memory elements what we are using here, and you need to reconstruct the functionality of the particular memory elements what you are using here. But here, no memory elements are there, simply taking the inputs, generating the outputs. So when compared to the sequential, combinations are very easy to design, but the sequential are somewhat harder for designing. Okay, next, the example of this is parallel adder. Okay, the combination circuit example is parallel adder, and sequential circuit example is serial adder. Okay, so we have seen this parallel adder previously, and we will see this serial adder in the coming sessions. Okay, in the further sessions, we will see serial adder. Already in the third unit, we have seen parallel adder. So you can go through that. Okay, so these are the 5 major differentiations or the comparisons between the combinational and sequential. The first point is regarding the definition. The second point is regarding the memory element. The third point is regarding to the speed. The fourth point is regarding to the construction of circuit, and that means the designing of circuit. And the fifth one is an example. Fifth one is example. So you can expect this question even for short answers, 2 marks questions. Okay, so please learn them. Okay, next. So now we will see what is the classification of the sequential circuit. So what is the classification of sequential circuit? So how many types of circuits are there? So depending on the timings of signals. So depending on the timing, it is an important word. It is the important factor what we are discussing now. Depending on the timing of their signals, we have two types of sequential circuits. We have two types of sequential circuits. One is synchronous sequential circuits. Second one is asynchronous sequential circuits. Okay, what is synchronous and what is asynchronous? Okay, please remember, depending on the timing of their signals. Okay, timing of the signals, we have two types of sequential circuits. Okay, one is synchronous, second one is asynchronous. Okay, so in synchronous circuits, the signals can affect the memory elements only at discrete instant of time. Okay, it will be affecting the memory elements. The signals can affect the memory elements only at discrete instants of time. Whereas in asynchronous circuit, the signals can affect the memory elements at any instant of time. Okay, only a single difference here. If the signals are being affecting at a discrete instant of time, then it is called as synchronous. Any instant of time, it is called as asynchronous. Okay, so synchronous means we use a common clock pulse here, a common timing signal, where asynchronous is a separate timing signal for each and every memory element. Okay, so generally we know that the sequential circuit will internally consist of one memory element, right? Just now we have discussed it. The sequential circuits internally consist of one memory element that is be linked in feedback path. Feedback path. So when these memory elements are being operated, okay, when these memory elements are being operated with a common clock pulse or common timing signal, you can call it as a synchronous. Okay, that means suppose if you have n number of memory elements, all these n number of memory elements are operated or handled by a single clock pulse. But whereas here, if you have n number of particular memory elements, so you need n number of timing signals. That means each and every separate memory element will be dependent, or it is connected with different timing signals. Okay, so common clock signal means, or common clock pulse means, it is a synchronous circuit where different or an what can say separate, okay, separate clock pulses for each and every memory element. It is called as an asynchronous circuit. Okay, next. See, the memory elements used in both the circuits, in these both, whether in synchronous or in asynchronous, the what are the memory elements we are using here is flip-flops. Okay, so previously I have said you flip-flops are latches. Okay, let me write here latches, LATCHES, latch or a flip-flop. Okay, you can use both. Either you can use latch or you can use flip-flop, which are called as memory elements. Okay, latch, flip-flop, both can be used as memory elements, and both are single bit storage elements. That is also very important. Latch and flip-flop both are single bit storage elements. They can only store a single bit. It may be either 0 or it may be either 1. Okay, remember that latch or flip-flop can be used as a single bit storage elements in the sequential circuits. Okay, latch is also latch is a single bit storage device. Flip-flop is also a single bit storage element. Both are single bit storage elements. Then how can you differ these two? Sir, you are saying latch is a single bit storage element. Flip-flop is also a single bit storage element. Then what is the difference between these two? Yeah, we are having a difference between these two depending upon the triggering of, okay, depending on the triggering concept. Okay, input value is going to change, how the output is changed with respect to the input. That on that particular basis, you can differentiate latch and flip-flop. Okay, simply you can say on the concept of triggering, the latch as well as flip-flop is being differentiated, but the operation is same. What are the operation? Both the latch and the flip-flop will be used as a memory element, which can store only a single bit of information. Single bit means either it can store 0 or it can store 1. It cannot store both. Okay, either it can store 0 or it can store 1. Okay, so the memory elements used here is flip-flops. Okay, mainly we use flip-flops than latches. So why we are using that also we will discuss now. Okay, which are capable for storing the single bit binary information. Okay, remember that latch, even latch or flip-flop, whatever you use, the both are single bit storage elements. Single bit storage elements. Okay, so remember the classification. Depending on the timing of signals, we have two types of circuits. One is synchronous circuits and other one is asynchronous. So synchronous means the output is taking across the circuit, which is depending on the common clock pulse. And whereas in the case of asynchronous, you can say it as a separate clock pulses for memory elements. So what are the memory elements we are using here? We can use either latch or flip-flops, but we use flip-flops better than latches. We have some advantages. Okay, so these flip-flop or latches both are nothing but both are single bit storage elements. Single bit storage elements. Okay, so now we will see what is the difference between asynchronous and synchronous circuits in detail. Okay, so in synchronous circuits, memory elements are clocked flip-flops. Clocked means, so we are in the common circuits we use enable. Okay, in the common circuits like a decoder, encoder, there we found an input called as enable, and that enable will make the circuit to on and off. Like that only here also in sequential circuit we have a clock. Okay, how we are having enable in the common circuits, likewise in sequential we are having a clock, CLOCK. Simply you can say it as CLK, a short form notation as CLK. Okay, like enable in the common circuits, we will have clock pulse in sequential, and this clock pulse will be common for all the memory elements in synchronous. Okay, the clock pulse will be common. That means we use common clock pulse for all the memory elements. What are the memory elements we are having? Flip-flops. We are using flip-flops. Next, in asynchronous circuits, the memory elements are either unclocked. Unclocked means, okay, unclocked means separately they are taken. It means suppose if we have five flip-flops, 5 flip-flops will have separate 5 clock pulses. Okay, unclocked version. Okay, clocked means all the flip-flops are depending only on the single clock pulse. Suppose if what you can say unclocked means separate clock pulses for all the flip-flops. Okay, then what is second one? In synchronous circuits, the change in input signals can affect the memory upon the activation of clock signal. That means in the synchronous circuits, we are having only one common clock pulse that we have seen now. When this common clock signal is activated, then the change in the input signal can affect the memory element. Okay, then this memory element will start generating the respective outputs depending on the changing of the inputs, Okay, but here in asynchronous circuits, the change in the input signal can affect the memory at the any instant of time. Any instant of time means as it is consisting of separate clock pulse. So each and every memory element will not be depending on the other. Okay, clear? So each and every memory element will affect the particular output at any instant of time. Okay, suppose if we have two memory elements, memory element 1, memory element 2, they separately start their operation, and one doesn't depend on 2, and 2 doesn't depend on 1. Okay, it will carry its own operation, and they both doesn't depend on their outputs. Okay, but here all the memory elements are linked with a common clock pulse. That's why depending on the activation of the common clock signal, all the memory elements will start working simultaneously. Okay, next, the maximum operating speed of clock depends upon the time delays involved. So the maximum operating speed of this clock, okay, what we have seen, clock pulse, common clock pulse, that operating speed of clock pulse depends on the time delays involved. But here, due to the absence of clock means a common clock is absent here, asynchronous circuits can operate faster than synchronous. This is a very, very important point. Due to the presence of, due to the absence of common clock, asynchronous circuits can operate faster than the synchronous circuits. Okay, these will operate very fast than this. Okay, and it is easier for designing. It is more difficult for designing. Okay, these are the four basic comparisons. So among these all, this is the important concept. Why? Because in the asynchronous part, this is the only positive statement we are seeing. In the asynchronous part, it is the only positive thing. What is that? These circuits can operate faster. These circuits can operate faster than the synchronous mode of circuits. Okay. Next. Next, we have two types of circuits. What is one? Level mode of circuit and the pulse mode of circuits. Okay. So this classification is based upon the how input variables are to be considered. Okay. According to how the input variables are to be considered, there are two types of asynchronous circuits. There are two types of asynchronous circuits. One is fundamental mode, or it is called as level mode, fundamental mode of circuits, and second one is pulse mode circuits. Okay. First one is fundamental mode circuits. It is also called as level mode circuits. And second one is pulse mode circuits. Okay. Level mode and pulse mode. These are the two types of asynchronous circuits. These are two types of asynchronous circuits which are classified on the how input variables are to be considered. Suppose if you take first one, the fundamental mode circuit assumes that. So what are the assumptions you need to do when you are dealing with the level mode of circuit? The input variables changes only when the circuit is stable. Okay. In this particular type of level mode circuit, the input variables changes only when the circuit is stable. Only one input variable can change at a given time. And inputs are levels but not pulses. Okay, these are the three major considerations we need to observe in level mode of circuit. Level mode means the circuits will be operating on the levels, operating on the inputs which are in the form of levels. Okay, the word itself indicates a level, input level, output level, like that. These circuits will start operating when the inputs are given as levels. Okay, that too only one input variable can change at a given time, given point of time. Okay, and these input variables will change only when the circuit is stable. These are the 3 points you need to remember when you are dealing with the level mode circuits. Level mode circuits. Okay, next, pulse mode circuit. What is here? The input variables are pulses. Here the input variables are levels, but here the input variables are pulses. And here the width of the pulse is long enough to respond the input. Okay. Here the input variable will change only circuit is at the stable state. But here the width of the pulses is long enough to respond to the input. That too, the pulse width must not be so long. Okay. So what is the pulse generally? This is the symbol of pulse. It is nothing but a positive pulse. It is called as a negative pulse. Okay. So the gap, whatever you are seeing here, you call this as a pulse width. Okay. You call here as pulse. This is the pulse width. So what is saying? This pulse width is enough for the responding of the input. But this width should not be so long. That means it should not be like this. Okay. That particular pulse width should not be so much long. Okay. It should not be so much long. It should be somewhat very less. It will be narrow so that the input will be changes according to the pulse width. Okay. And remember that here the input variables are pulses, but here the input variables are levels. Here the input variable changes at a given time, but here it will be changes with respect to the pulse width. And here the input variables change only when circuit is stable, but here it will be changes to the pulse width, where the pulse width must not be so long. It should not be so long. Okay. So these are the two types of what we can say asynchronous types of circuits. What one is fundamental mode and second one is pulse mode. Okay, clear? So this is the regarding the introduction part. So in the next session, we will see this flip-flops and latches in detail. Okay, so and see a small overview here. So if you see this particular, so what is the condition here in sequence circuit? There are some applications in which we need to store the previous outputs also. Okay, there are some applications where we need to use the previous output as the input. In that particular scenario, we use a special type of circuit in which the combination circuit is linked with an memory element. Okay, so past output is to be stored. That means you need some memory element. You need some memory element. So in order to store the previous output, the memory elements what we are using as flip-flops and latches. Okay, and these memory elements are linked with the feedback for the circuit. These flip-flops are, or these memory elements are connected as the feedback in the circuit. Okay, therefore we can say it as an a sequence circuit is defined as the circuit at which the output is depending on the present inputs as well as the past outputs. Okay, so therefore the sequence circuit is also called as an finite state machine. It consists of a finite number of states. Okay, next, if you observe the block diagram, here inputs are giving for a combination circuit, and this combination circuit will generate output. And when this output is taking as a feedback here by using the memory element, and when it is using as an input of the current state, then you can say it as it is a sequence circuit. Okay, a combination circuit which is linked with an memory element. The combined entire diagram you can call it as a sequential circuit. Therefore, the sequence circuit is equal to the combination circuit plus a memory element. Okay, so we have seen the differences. So this is regarding the definition. The first point is regarding definition. The second point is regarding the memory element. The third point is regarding to the speed. And the fourth point is regarding to the designing process. And fifth one is the example. Okay. And then we have seen the classification like asynchronous and synchronous. So what is asynchronous? So the sequence circuits where the signals can affect the memory element at a discrete instant of time. It is called synchronous. Any instant of time, it is asynchronous. Okay. Here the memory elements, what we are going to use nothing but is our flip-flops. Okay. So flip-flops or latches both are single bit storage elements. Both are single bit storage elements which can store only either 0 or 1. Either 0 or 1 but not both. Okay. And when you see this classification of these two, over the comparison of these two, here the memory elements are clocked flip-flops, whereas here unclocked flip-flops. Here the output will be changed according to activation of clock signal, whereas here at any instant of time or any instant of the clock signal. Here the maximum operating speed will be depending on time delays, but due to the absence of clock, the asynchronous sync can operate faster than synchronous, and it is easy for design. It is difficult for design. Okay, the comparison of synchronous and sequential. Okay, and just now we say level mode and pulse mode. Okay, these level mode and pulse mode are the classifications of asynchronous mode of circuits depending on the how input variables are considered. In fundamental mode, input variables are considered as levels. In pulse mode, input variables are considered as pulses. Here the input variable can change at a given time. Here the width of the pulse is long enough to respond to input. Okay, here the input will be changes only when the circuit is stable. But here the pulse width will be deciding the changes of the input. And the important thing is the pulse width of the particular circuit should not be so long. Okay, so this is the introduction part of the sequential circuits. Okay.